One of the flowers that's a great garden helper is the marigold flower, and these flowers are a must have, especially when we are growing a lot of vegetables in the garden. And we have a lot of marigold plants and flowers blooming in our garden. So, let's take a look at how to grow these flowers and purchase them only once and have continuous blooming every season and get lots of beautiful flowers and blooms in our garden. Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, these are a must have plant for every garden, and as you can see here I have some saplings growing in this garden and lot of plants in different parts of my garden, some growing in containers and some growing in the ground. So this is a 6-inch container in which I have a lot of marigold plants, and I also have a lot that are planted in the ground. So these were all grown from seed, and these seeds were saved from the plants that I already have in my garden. So, in our garden, we have the African marigolds and the French marigolds, and I had shared also in a previous video that these marigold plants can be great companion plants when planted next to tomatoes, peppers, and other vegetable plants. So, they can be planted along with these vegetables in the same container or in small containers nearby or in the ground at different spots in the garden so that they can act as a natural pest repellent for a lot of pests in the garden. So we can reduce the use of pesticides by planting these beautiful flowering plants that we can grow again and again by saving seeds. So here as you can see that there is a dried bloom of marigold, and when we pinch open the base of this flower we can get a lot of seeds that we can save for later or plant back into the container or in the ground for continuous blooming. Now, these are flowers that start blooming towards June, July, and go on until October, November, and they are used in a lot of festive decorations like Onam and Diwali. So, these are flowers that we can directly pick from our garden and use for decorating indoors and outdoors when we have a lot of festivals coming up. So, what I usually do is during the blooming season, I pick off seeds from the spent blooms and I add them to the container or in several parts of the garden in the ground so that they can grow into new plants and I can have continuous blooming of these beautiful flowers. These plants and flowers have a strong fragrance that repels pests and prevents them from attacking a lot of plants in our garden. Saving seeds is also easy, and we get a lot of seeds from the spent blooms. So we can grow several other plants from just saving the seeds from one spent bloom. So as you can see here, there are so many seeds, and these are all grown from the seeds that I saved from the plants that I had previously purchased. Currently, I am growing the yellow and orange African marigolds and the French marigolds in my garden, and I'm also looking to grow the vanilla marigolds pretty soon. And I'll definitely post updates of those on my Instagram, so do take a look at my Instagram page for updates from my garden. Seeds can be just sprinkled into the container where these plants are already growing, and that's how I usually get a constant bloom of marigolds from my garden. So, here you can see tiny saplings that are growing in the pot where there are already big plants that are having a lot of blooms. These plants need at least 5 to 6 hours of direct sunlight and they will bloom really well in 45 to 50 days after the seeds are planted. And once the blooms are spent, we can pinch them off and save those seeds for later or plant them back in the ground again. To get a more fuller and bushier looking plant, we need to pinch off the tip of the plant when it is about 10 to 12 inches tall or before it starts to flower. French marigolds usually don't grow really as tall as African marigolds, and they are the more bushier and the shorter kind. The pinched off stems can also be propagated in a glass of water, and it will develop roots over a period of time, and these can be planted to grow new plants in the garden. So do make sure to grow this natural pest repellent and beautiful flower, which is a must in our garden, and we always have these plants in our garden every season. Hope you enjoyed the tips from today's video. Thanks for watching Fresh from my garden.